For today, there is a small chance of rain during the evening. I do want to cover that for you first because there's going to be areas where it's going to be more likely than others. And I do think if you live over towards the east of I-75, that's where your better chances of rain are going to be for today, with scattered rain and thunderstorms being possible. Now, as far as any heavy rain or severe weather around noon, I really don't think that's likely. In fact, for the better chances of rain today around 5 o'clock or so, I do think that there's going to be a slight chance to see maybe one or two stronger thunderstorms pushing into the mid-state, but when it comes to what we would categorize as severe storms, those do look unlikely. And what we're looking for in those is things like heavy rain, frequent lightning, and potential tornado risk. The first thing I want to point out to you is that it has slowed down significantly since Saturday. It's down to about 7 miles per hour. It was at 20, and the slower it moves in the Gulf, the more and more strength it could pick up. It could potentially become a full-fledged tropical storm before it makes landfall.
Would you like to tell what just happened?
You tell. I'm too humble for that.
You go. You can fill us in.
Okay, so Ashley was over here finishing up her bottle of water, and then there's a trash can about 15 feet or so away
in the
from
weather
her.
center.
Back over
She's
there.
tried many times to make this shot, and she finally got it today.
I've hit the TV, I've hit Daniel.
Yes. What exactly is causing this? Well, we do have what is called the ring of fire blocking pattern in effect here in the southeast. Now, what that is when you have a center of high pressure really just parked over the southeast, not allowing any of that nice cool air from the north to move on in. So we have a slight south wind. We're going to see rising temperatures still over the next couple days, a very high heat index, and that afternoon chance of rain is not going anywhere. That's still going to be in effect. I'll be talking more about that in just a moment. But first, let's go ahead and talk about the big thing to watch for today, which is going to be the heat. In between about 1 and 6 o'clock is obviously going to be the hottest part of the day, but I really want to highlight in between about 3 and 5 o'clock for you. During that time, we're probably going to see a heat index over 100, maybe even as high as 105. I do want to show you Tuesday right now because we're going to have a high temperature of 95 degrees. Although it's not going to be the warmest day when it comes to the actual temperature of the week, it is going to feel like one of the warmer days out there because a heat index of 100 is going to be expected. Now, this is going to be a cool video that was sent to us by Perry Smith. Turtle out in the front yard. You can see a lot of standing water there as well. Probably thought he was still swimming in a pond, but the way it stands, this might be something that we might see over the next few days with isolated heavy rain around the area. Closer towards about 3 or 4 o'clock, some smaller pop-up showers could be moving into the mid-state. And I really want to point out an area like this one. I know this is projected to be outside of our area. Now, we can't rule out the possibility this may be turning into a stronger to severe storm. Okay, so later on this afternoon, you can see that the wind's going to be very strong, particularly between Panama City and Apalachicola. Wind gusts could be as high as 50, and the further north you get, at least for today, it's not going to be too much of an issue. Looking at our own small chance of some severe weather to move on in, but as far as things like tornadoes are concerned, those look very unlikely as of right now. But just a couple hours ago, we did have some thunderstorms moving through places like Macon, Warner Robins, Cochran, and now it's beginning to really fizzle out closer towards the Eastman area. This is where that thunderstorm is. Now it's beginning to die down quite a bit. But it's also going to be windy, and this is one thing I do want to point out, particularly for those of you using fireworks in the earlier portions of the day today. Wind is going to be a factor. We might see consistent wind speeds around 10 miles per hour with wind gusts upwards of 20 to potentially 25. So definitely make sure you're away from any trees or houses when you're setting off these fireworks, just to take into account the wind. Here, I know we're dealing with this snow, which is very cool here in middle Georgia, but you got something cool to show us here.
That's right. My very own snowman.
It has 2 paths to take. The first of which is going to be moving closer towards an area like Cozumel, Belize, Honduras, areas over there. In fact, if we look closer over here, you're going to see a lot of these just being straight lines moving straight towards areas like Belize, which would be good news for us here in the United States. But there's going to be another area to watch, which is going to be further up towards the north right here, and it looks like a couple more of these are going to have it getting caught in the Gulf Stream and being sent off into the Atlantic. And we're going to be on the northeast side of the storm, which is where all the heavy rain and the heavy wind is going to be for the day ahead. But I think the worst time for today is going to be around 6 or 7. That's when a lot of us are going to be seeing rain pushing on through. Some of us may even see a couple severe storms during this time. And for those of you that live closer towards an area like Dublin or Eastman, might want to watch out for something shaped like this, because typically when you see a shape like that, it leads to things like stronger wind and a lot more rain.
I believe you grew up in Indiana.
I can't either.
Dave lived in the Upper Peninsula. Forget about that.
Yeah.
So one of the coldest places in the entire country.
I can't believe I lived through that.
It's really going to be about half an inch to maybe a full inch. Now, Rick, I know that you've been here for quite a few years. How would you compare this to other snows that you've seen over that time?
I've honestly, in Macon, there's only been one other good snow.
It's still expected to be a tropical storm early tomorrow morning when it crosses over into Alabama, but you're going to notice it may be moving through Albany, and then that's going to put us in the northeastern portion of the storm after it moves past Albany. And what that means is that we can see the heaviest conditions as far as rainfall totals and also maybe some high wind gusts in the 70s, as I'll show you in just a second. It does have a pretty nice eye with it at the moment, which means that it is going to develop a little bit more over the next couple days. And at the moment, winds down to about 65 miles per hour, so it is beginning to die down a little bit at a time. And the reason that it is because it is not over the ocean anymore, and whenever you see it either over the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf, that's when you see these things strengthening.